Grief impacts us in many different ways, but nobody talks about grieving the loss of somebody who's still alive, or mourning the loss of a version of you that no longer exists. But sometimes you see glimpses of it whenever you live. You feel a trigger, you feel something come on that reminds you of who you used to be, and part of you longs to go back to who you were, and who you were is dead. Sometimes, as a Christian, you want to go back because it feels familiar. Familiarity is comfortable, and diving headfirst into the unknown is uncomfortable. With the old, new is formed. Sometimes, whenever God removes somebody in your life and you did absolutely nothing and they're gone and you don't understand why, that is merely God protecting you from something that you cannot see right now and you will not understand. So don't try to understand why that person walked out of your life, why they're gone. What did you do wrong? Because there's simply nothing that you could have done. God was simply protecting you from something that you don't understand right now and maybe never will. Revelations 2:4 says this: "You had lost the love you had at first." Sometimes it feels like we're not on fire for God in the way that we used to be, or you're not who you used to be. You're not the same person. You're not as bright as you once used to be. You're not as lighthearted as you used to be. Life is harder. You don't feel weightless. You feel like there's a weight being tied to your ankles and you're struggling to get by. Sometimes in our life, we are struggling to understand why the mourning in our lives has to happen. Why do we have to mourn somebody who still exists, this version of ourselves that still exists, this friendship that we had in our life that no longer exists, or a relationship that no longer exists, and you're trying to step into something new, but you keep getting glimpses of what your life used to look like. And in the same way, we can see how God uses moments in our lives or people in our lives or events in our lives to teach us things. And instead of focusing on what you can get from that person, focus on what you gave. What you gave was your all. There was never a moment in that season of your life where you weren't trying. You may have fallen, but you got back up. And you may be mourning, but a new morning will come. And there is hope at the end of this. How do you let go of mourning somebody who is still alive? And the answer is with God. Sometimes you still have to see somebody and it haunts you. Or you see their social medias and it's triggering. Or you see glimpses of who you used to be in the past and it's scary because you're like, who was that? And sometimes people in our lives no longer serve us. We don't understand why we let these people in our lives, but we sometimes miss them. And it's because we miss the toxicness. You don't miss the person, you miss the toxic. And that toxic becomes so normal in your life that you forget what healthy looks like, what boring looks like, what mundane looks like. And we live in such a fast-paced world today that we're told that we aren't supposed to fast. We aren't supposed to go without things. We are told that you shouldn't ask for help. We're told that being vulnerable is weakness, but in fact, it's a strength. And if you're a Christian, you actually understand that vulnerability in itself is the biggest strength that you can have, because in your vulnerability is how you testify to the light, and the light is God. You have light in you. Just because you are in a dark season right now doesn't mean that you don't have light left. Just because you are mourning a version of yourself or somebody who still exists but you no longer know doesn't mean that you can't get to know this new version of yourself. We don't like change as humans. I hate change. It's so hard for me. But in this season of my life, I've had to truly let go, not allowing change to happen because I'm afraid of what that could look like, of trusting in God fully. Because as Christians, we like to say we trust in God. We pray to God and we say, God, I trust in you to take care of this. However, we pick it back up from the altar each time. And we say, God, I trust you to take care of this situation. But we go back even though we know it doesn't serve us. What are you going back to that doesn't serve you? There's a story in the Bible, in Hosea specifically. Hosea is told to marry a harlot, marry a woman who's unfaithful, marry a woman who cheats, because Israel was unfaithful. And he meets this woman and he marries her, and her name is Gomer. And this whole love story seems like something out of a soap opera. Hosea and Gomer. Hosea is a faithful man and he loves her, and she still rejects him continuously. And in the same way, in a lot of our lives, we reject God continuously, but he still pursues you. He still is faithful whenever you are unfaithful, and he still wants your heart even whenever it's hardened. You can mourn the loss of somebody. You can mourn the hurt of somebody. You can still miss this person, but that doesn't mean that you have to go back. It's okay to miss something, but never ever go back to it. It's okay to miss a version of yourself. It's okay to mourn a version of yourself, but never go back, because going back was spiritual death, was death of you. And you are alive again, and you are seeing the restoration of life that has been dwelling within you, and you are being told this. You can see it in yourself, but you sometimes still miss who you used to be. And that's Satan trying to steal your joy. That is the devil trying to rob God of the blessings that he has for you. Sometimes your no is making room for God's yes. What are you saying no to? What are you trying to say yes to let back into your life? How to mourn somebody who is still alive? You have to remember that they are not your life. How to mourn somebody who's still alive? You have to understand that that person is not your God, and you serve one God, and that's God himself. If you make a person your God, it becomes like death, because somebody who's still alive, but you have to see on a daily basis, makes things even harder. But you're seeing their social media, they're still somehow intertwined in your life some way, somehow. That's the hardest, because you're grieving somebody who still exists, but it's the shell of who they used to be in front of you. You had lost the love you had at first. Revelations 2:4. And sometimes it feels like we used to be so on fire for God. I used to be so full of life. I used to be so happy. And we can look back at ourselves and say, what happened? Who did I become? I'm so hardened now. I'm so broken now. There's no hope. There's no restoration for me. I'm spiritually dead, or I miss the people that I used to have. I know they didn't serve me, but I miss it. I miss that version of who I was. I miss the version of me who had fun, who laughed, who smiled, who had a good time. And I don't remember how to do those things anymore, because all I know is pain now. All I know is this anguish that burns inside me that I can't figure out how to navigate, because we turn our backs on God. We become unfaithful to him, even whenever he's faithful to us, like Hosea and Gomer. Gomer had multiple partners. She was unfaithful, but Hosea still chased after her. He was always adamant in his love. And sometimes whenever somebody looks at us with love, we can become uncomfortable because we don't see that love in ourselves. If somebody tells you something, why are we so hesitant on taking compliments from others? It's because we don't see what they see in us. They see something in you that you don't see in yourselves, and they want you to know that. They want to acknowledge that. But until you see it in yourself, it's uncomfortable. And we don't like uncomfortable. We like comfortability. We like being comfortable. In this day and age, everything is put a band-aid on the wound. Don't recognize the root. Just put a band-aid. Just put a band-aid. Just put a band-aid on everything. If it hurts, put a band-aid on it. Find a way to address the symptom, but don't find the root. Because if you find the root, you find something that you don't want to look at and don't want to face. Because facing that is scarier than any of this. Facing what hurts, we are told not to do, because it's vulnerability. And vulnerability in this day and age is seen as weakness. And if you are weak, then how can you be strong? People can't see you weak, right? No, but people should. Because in your weakness, that is when God is your strength. A lot of the times, whenever we say, I love you, we're expecting somebody to say, I love you, but you do this. I love you, but I wish you didn't do this. I love you, but I wish you did this. God has no conditions. God loves you for exactly who you are. He loves you when you're unfaithful. He loves you when you're running away from him. He loves you whenever you forget who you are, whenever you're mourning the loss of who you used to be, or missing somebody that is no longer there, but is still alive. Sometimes we may be mourning the loss of somebody who's still alive, and that person that we're mourning is us. Sometimes we mourn a friendship that is no longer there, but we're mourning the version of us that existed within that friendship. We're mourning the person that we used to be in that relationship. I know for me, whenever I look back on the people that I was dating, I don't miss the person I was with. I miss the version of myself that existed, because I saw something in myself, something so soft, something so feminine, for a glimpse, for a moment. It's like that moment whenever you get your hair done finally and you feel radiant, or you see yourself in a dress that fits perfectly, that you finally are like, this is the dress. This is the dress. Or you get your nails done and you're like, I feel good. Or you get a haircut if you're a guy and you're like, this moment, I feel confident. I feel radiant. There's moments in our lives where we feel glimpses of being radiant, but that's how God always sees you. I know you don't see it in yourself, but he still sees you in that radiant glory. He sees glory shining on you. Our souls are a lot like canvases, and as time goes on, they get marred. They become distorted. The colors may fade. The canvas may break, it may tear, it may corrode in some ways, may get dusty, and the colors at one point may not look so vibrant anymore. And the world tells us that we need to throw away our canvas to start over. I'm too broken. I can't start over. There's no fixing for this. There's no band-aid that can fix this root, this hole in me. Sometimes it feels like you have your canvas, which is your soul, and it just has a hole punched right through it from the things that we try to fill it with that aren't God. Power, sex, money, fame, things of this world that we think will give us meaning. What we use to define us, we think gives us meaning, but in fact, it's eating away at our souls. The things that we try to do to fit in, to be cool, they're just charring at our canvas. But God tells us that we don't need to throw away the canvas. He tells us that He can fix that. He can renew it. He can restore it to be blank, to be clean, to be pure. If you're mourning somebody today, maybe take a moment to reflect and recognize that version of yourself that you are mourning truly. But whenever you start over with God, He makes you new. You can't live in the old and the new. You can't live on the fence. And whenever you feel like you want to go back, remember the cost. You may want to go back to who you used to be because it felt easy, it felt familiar, it felt comfortable. But good things take sacrifice. True love takes sacrifice. And more fear of the Lord reminds us that whenever we are in a deep awe and deep reverence of our Father and of His commandments, we don't want to break them because we're afraid of Him. We want to keep them and respect them because we love our dad. He looks to when we call Him Father. He just wanted to be your dad. He just wants to see you do well. And He wants to say, well done, my faithful and good servant. So whenever you're tempted to go back to who you used to be, whenever you're mourning who you used to be, remember that a new morning will come. A new day will come. You will not always feel this broken over somebody who broke you, because usually we only miss the things that broke us. For some weird, twisted reason, we want to go back to what broke us, to what destroyed us, to what almost drowned us. And it's because our humanity, we are broken. And the only way that a broken things becomes restored is through rebuilding. You don't have to go back. You can only go forward. Trust in God and trust that His plan is better than yours. It's okay to miss somebody and miss the version of you who you used to be, but realize that there's such a better version that exists right now. This version of you is radiant. This version of you is full of love, full of life. Why would you go back? What's back there? It's like that one story in the Old Testament. I don't know what story it is, but I think it's whenever they're leaving Sodom and Gomorrah and the wife turns around and the angel's leading them out. And the angel says, don't turn around, don't look back. And the wife looks back and she turns into a pillar of salt. Sometimes we look back and we become cynical. We become salty. We forget that we are the salt of the earth and that we are the ones who are meant to go out and bring out light, but we get so comfortable in the dark. We become so comfortable in the dark that we forget to be the light. And I hope that you remember you are the light and the light dwells within you. And that is something worthy of praise. You are so loved and you are so abundant. And I hope you never forget that. Thank you so much for listening to another episode of What the Elle. I forgot to introduce myself. I kind of just jumped right in. But if you like this episode, make sure to subscribe. Make sure to leave a like, leave a comment. It really helps me out. If you haven't subscribed and you've watched all my episodes up until this point, that's really impressive. And please keep on not subscribing, because the fact that you keep returning and not subscribing is pretty cool. So just you do you. And if you want to follow me on all my other socials, those will be linked down below. If you want to listen to video episodes, those are exclusively on Spotify and YouTube. And if you like to just listen to the audio, that is available on Apple Podcasts only. And with that, I hope you have a blessed day. Make sure to always remember that there will be another morning coming. You don't have to live in the past anymore. You can move past that. You are loved right now, and just keep moving forward. Thank you so much, and I will see you guys on the next episode. Or no, let me say that again. I will see you on the next episode. Okay. I love you. Bye.